Hey guys, so as you can see in the background there, I'm at the DC Capitol here, which I'm about to go do a press conference in about an hour. But I wanted to make this episode beforehand because obviously there's been a lot of news surrounding what's been happening. So let's get started. Now, you've seen the news, right? In New York, Linda Sun and her husband, Chris, they've been accused of working on behalf for the Chinese Communist Party to advance the CCP's agenda in the state of New York.
As I'm editing this video, I find out that the Consulate General of the New York State has been expelled, likely at the request of Governor Kathy Hochul to the State Department. Obviously, the State Department is the only place that can do this, can expel foreign diplomats. What a shocking development.
And she was a former staffer for both Kathy Hochul and Chris Cuomo, spanning more than a decade of work. And then you also saw the news that Alice Guo has been arrested in Indonesia, in Jakarta, after she escaped from the Philippines to avoid her investigation, or the investigation into her, which obviously, as we know, has put her further and further in more trouble. In fact, if you look at it this way, Alice Guo is the beginning, whereas Linda Sun is the end. So let me talk about exactly what that means. Now, if you think about Alice Guo as this sort of a CCP virus in the early stage, right, which has been planted to develop over the decade, then you get the late stage Linda Guo, which obviously has been found out to be doing all of these things, essentially changing the policy of the state. Here's the photo and pictures that shows her arrest by the Indonesian authorities. The tale of two spies. Honestly, if there were just signs that could point us to this direction.
台独灭亡！台独灭亡！蔡英文滚出纽约！蔡英文滚出纽约！打倒蔡英文！
Here she is standing next to Guan Junliang, who runs one of the CCP United Front organizations in the state of New York. And this is him being photographed standing behind Xi Jinping. So the story of Linda Sun is that while she was working for the New York state government, including in high-ranking posts, for example, she blocked representatives of the Taiwanese government to meet with New York state officials, changing the state's messaging when it comes to China, and as well as the CCP. Also, she obtained proclamation for these CCP representatives without the proper authorization. And she also attempted to facilitate a trip by a high-level official to China. And for one part, she acted as sort of the middle woman between the CCP and New York State, and she never registered as a foreign agent. Money is everything. Because of this, Sun got millions of dollars in transactions for her and her husband, their business back in China. There's travel benefits, concert tickets, promotions for close family members, job opportunities for her cousin in China, and apparently Nanjing-style salted ducks. And this was personally prepared by a personal chef of some official who now is believed to be the New York Consulate General of the CCP. And they were delivered to Sun's parents. It's kind of weird to me, but and the Consulate General, by the way, is seen here pictured with her a few times. And so there's definitely some type of connection, but also I guess, you know, food does touch a girl's heart, even if it means salted ducks and CCP spies. And of course, there's also money laundering involved. There's a $4 million mansion. There's cars like a Ferrari Roma, Mercedes, Range Rovers. There's also a Honolulu condo in Hawaii. So yeah, they had to find some ways to spend the money. This sounds familiar, right? Alice Guo, who also lived a luxury life. You got handbags, you got Gucci, you got luxury cars, helicopters. That's what I'm telling you. They're like the early stage and the late stage. You do get paid really well doing the dirty work. What's interesting to me, though, is that the recent case we saw with Mayor Eric Adam, aide, who is Winnie Greco, now with Linda Sun, who worked for the New York state government. You have Alice Guo, who is in the Philippines. They're not really at the federal level. They're actually in the local, the municipal, the state level. They're getting the grassroots situation down. And before we go further, here is a sponsor segment from Puritang.
If there is one supplement you want to get incorporated into your diet, it's a good omega-3 supplement. It's the best all-around defender for your health. It reduces inflammation, cholesterol, improves eyesight, and reduces risk for heart problems, as well as helps with joint pain, among other benefits. Today, I want to introduce you to Puritang's green vegetables. Puritang gets their ingredients straight from the high mountains of South Korea, and the omega oils are extracted from purslane and perilla seeds. It's 100% vegan. Now, personally, I've been using Omega for about 9 years, close to 10 years now. I've recently switched to Puritang for about a few weeks now. Here's why. We mostly get our Omegas from fish, right? But that's not the best case for everyone, especially there's the aftertaste. It might not be suitable for vegetarians or vegan. So the most important part, right, we often forget is the actual concentration for Omegas. Puritang soft gels have a much higher content for Omega 3, 6, 7, and 9 than many of the brands out there. And some say that they notice there's less hair loss, more energy, lower cholesterol levels, and overall improved health. I think the best part for me is the lack of inflammation or the reduction of inflammation. Other brands also they use this high heat method to extract the oil, which in turn creates a lot of harmful byproducts. Puritang's green vegetable is done using a patented method of supercritical carbon dioxide low temperature extraction, so it preserves the natural properties and maintains high purities. First of its kind. So get it for yourself or as a gift to your loved ones ahead of the holiday season. Use my code DZ2023 and you can receive free shipping globally. Check out my link in the description and comment today.
So like I mentioned, because they're infiltrated into the state and local level, this is where a lot of those grassroots policies, actual impacts on voters, and perhaps even policies when it comes to things like forming a partnership with a city in China, these twin cities, facilitating exchanges between officials of different levels. You build these different bridges with different levels in China, that's how you get entangled into this formal relationship. And that reflects back to the top level, which is the federal level. And this really also reflects in the case of Alice Guo. Now, if you think about it, the three of them, they might not be professionally trained quote-unquote spies, but the actions they're doing and the impact that they're forming from these relationships are much more impactful, for a lack of a better term, than those at the so-called, elite level of spy training. And by the way, if she was truly innocent, why did she run away? When they were investigating her, she's like, oh no, she was lying to the senators. And then after all, if you're really truly innocent, just stay for the investigation to be conducted and thoroughly, provide the evidence that you have, and then you'll be cleared, right? But instead, she ran away at the most critical time to show that she was innocent or to prove that she was. Well, not anymore. So Alice Guo was arrested in Jakarta in Indonesia, and her arrest means she's likely to be extradited back to the Philippines to face charges such as contempt of the Senate, lying to the people, and potentially even investigation into how much ties does she have to other parts of Southeast Asia, where we clearly know there's a much bigger ring. On the front of it is a scam network, but in reality, it's all part of that overseas control. So if you really think about it, there's thousands of Alice Guo and Linda Sun living around the world doing exactly what they're doing, but we have not seen reports or investigations into them yet. So that, it's going to be the only ones. We're going to see much more. If governments around the world really got alerted from this case with Alice Guo and Linda Sun, maybe they'll start their own investigations. But at current, really, this is a representation of a much bigger problem. There's thousands, if not more of them. It could be different names like Kathy or Barbara or I don't know what else, Alex, who knows. So props for the Philippines and the New York State to really do something about this. Really, like if you think about it, Linda Sun has done what she's been able to at her position. Had Alice Guo solidified her power as mayor, potentially even further moving up the chain of politics, much more damage could be done in the future. And if you really think about what Alice Guo already did, she's already shielded a compound that's supposed to be a gaming network, but in reality, it's a CCP spy base and a traffic zone. If you still don't think that Linda Sun is the end stage of Alice Guo, here's some more stuff she's done in details, okay? So she blocked representatives of the Taiwanese government from having access to top-level state officials in the state of New York. She says, quote, "No meeting, please." She allegedly wrote to this assemblyman who wanted the governor to meet with the Taiwanese officials. Quote, "Kindly decline, do not want her, Kathy Hochul, to wade into this China-Taiwan sensitivity." And according to the prosecutor, she also forged Hochul's signature. It's crazy to me that she's had the audacity to do that, and which was used again to get visas for these CCP officials. And she also changed the messaging of the state when it comes to the Chinese Communist Party, which in essence is essentially changing the principles and potentially even related to national security of one of the most important states in the US, right? If you think about it, New York State is huge, hugely important. And the thing is, Linda Sun got caught because over decades of her working, she finally climbed to a position where she's visible enough to seek attention and to be warranted this investigation when people found out. But the damage is already done. So the likes of Alice Guo and Linda Sun, they're not unique. There's thousands of them out there. But it's through these carefully crafted history, family background, even, to some levels, unbelievably shocking to the peers around them that they're doing this for the CCP, that they've been able to reach certain levels, right, off of this so-called diversity hiring or whatever the case may be. Maybe, they're truly hardworking people, but many of them fall victim to the CCP's money and this attraction to having both power and disposable income. And I think at the end of the day, it speaks to the national security issues, but it also speaks to education as well. This really is something that could happen to everybody and everywhere. And so if anyone is a politician that's watching this video or want to be alerted, you definitely have to be aware, because you never know what's really happening behind the scenes. All right, that's it today for the short episode here in Capitol Hill for the two spies and their stories, how it links to each other in a very unique way. If you enjoy the content, leave a like, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, bye-bye.